As I mentioned before, as a pastor, I have kept a long bucket list of things that I would like to preach on, and one of the items on that list is what we are doing today, which is to observe a Native American Sunday in which I could say both I'm sorry and thank you. I am so sorry for the indignities suffered in the past. I've been seeping myself in matters related to the Native Americans, and it's very hard to read very long without running into that intense suffering. And also, I wanted to say thank you for the rich and for the beautiful legacy the American Indians have given us. But today, on this Thanksgiving Sunday, my focus will be on gratitude. Where do I begin? For starters, I went to compilations of Native American wisdom. And so I wanted to find quotes. I love quotations. I have long collections of them. And I found those addressing ecology and the interconnectedness of life. I found sayings so profound, so timely for this day. Treat the earth well. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. I found consciousness of stewardship with regards to the land. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow the earth from our children. I like that. With regards to treatment of each other, everyone recognizes this one. Never criticize anyone until you've walked a mile in his moccasins. But here's one you might not have heard. I hadn't, but I like it. One finger cannot lift a pebble. That one takes a lot of thought. With regards to the Great Spirit, if you see no reason for giving thanks, the fault lies in yourself. Yet, as I thought about these aphorisms, I came to realize that what I was appreciating most was not so much a concept as it was a feeling. It was the underlying respect, the reverence given to life and its creator that I found in the Native American culture. Reverence. I love that word. Feeling reverence is why I like coming to church. I can identify with Oliver Wendell Holmes, who said, "There is a little plant called reverence in the corner of my soul's garden, which I love to have watered once a week." Don't you? So the question of this morning is, how do we nurture reverence? If reverence is somehow a state of mind that dwarfs the self while at the same time allowing us to stand in awe of something or someone much, much bigger, how do we get there? How do we reach that mindset? Well, Moses shows us how. In today's text, he's just minding his father-in-law's business, tending a flock of sheep, when he happens to notice something out of the ordinary. Now, he could have said, "That's weird," or "That's bizarre," and kept right on going with whatever it was he was trying to accomplish. But instead, Moses takes the time to stop and to check it out. Moses is curious. And because he is curious, he is willing to take the time to take a detour. When God sees his readiness, God reveals himself and then tells Moses to take off his sandals because he is standing on holy ground. All of us right now are here on holy ground. That's where our feet are at present. But the question is, have we taken off our shoes? Remembering back, I think we as children love the prospect of going barefoot. Remember waiting for that first spring day when it was warm enough to peel off your socks and take off your shoes and then to feel the fresh green grass beneath your feet. Remember that feeling of soft, warm earth that had been gently heated by the sun, the first of the season? Or what about the squishy sand oozing between your toes at water's edge? But then somehow, as adults, the prospect of taking off our shoes loses some of that allure, some of that magic. Somewhere along the line, we lose the desire to take off our shoes. Maybe we've come to the point where we think we've outgrown the need for reverence, but I hope not. I can remember as a relatively new pastor in Everett, putting into practice what I thought at the time was a very creative idea of observing Maundy Thursday by having a real foot washing ceremony. Everyone, take off your shoes and socks, I said. Well, they did it, but not happily. I specifically remember the woman who washed Dick's feet. She got so caught up with what she saw, I heard Dick say loud enough for everyone to hear, "Remember, you are not a doctor, Althea." So much for reverential silence I was going for in that service. I was cured. That was the last time I tried that. That was the last time I will ask adults to take off their shoes. You can relax. But in that moment, I came to realize that the concept of taking off one's shoes didn't have to be literal in order to stoke one's soul for reverence. Moses shows us 3 ways to do it. First, by our willingness to take detours so as to smell the roses and check out those blazing bushes. In other words, don't be so driven by the need for speed that you consistently pass go and you do not collect 200. One of the gifts I received in preparing for this sermon, in visiting Dan and thinking about Faye, was that I allowed myself to get sidetracked, to take a detour and to study the foot. Since I was thinking about taking off shoes, I started to wonder more about them. And I was amazed to discover that God, in creating a foot, gives us 26 bones. I would have guessed 5. 26 bones, 33 joints, and 107 ligaments. Apparently, we need all that because did you know that the average person will walk approximately 115,000 miles in a lifetime? I found that in more than one source. That's 4 times around the globe. Imagine creating feet that can do that. Take the time to be wowed by thinking about the human foot, or by a butterfly like tiger, or by a newborn baby. Secondly, be ready to make yourself vulnerable as if you were walking barefoot. Be ready to feel the pain so as to gain. Psychologically, be ready for those sharp stones in the pathway, the hot asphalt of the pavement. Last week, Pastor Mayor Honan revealed some of her incredible willingness to hear and to accept the suffering of those around her. I so often, when I hear her describe the encounter she has and what people say to her, I can so often feel myself wanting to shut off and saying, let's talk about something different. Did you see the snow yesterday? But mentally, when you take off your shoes, you become vulnerable in the listening. You become ready to share in the pain. Yet as we continually discover, it is in the acceptance of another's pain, by which God deepens our capacity for joy. I saw that in Pastor Mayer last week. I saw it in Mother Teresa of Calcutta. I see it in Gail Hall. And we can see that truth when it happens within ourselves. So first, take tours when you're curious, detours. Second, be willing to make yourselves vulnerable, to feel the pain. And thirdly, remember that all the ground on which all of us stand is holy, and that God will reveal himself to us when we choose to treat each other as sacred. Barbara Brown Taylor, in her book An Altar in the World, describes an encounter with a grocery clerk. That boy who was crushing her portobellos and does not know a thing about how to bag mushrooms. His attention was elsewhere, on the cute cashier who was working next to him. So instead of sighing with annoyance at his incompetence, Barbara decides to step back, to take off her shoes, so to speak, and to notice that his fingernails are bitten to the quick. To notice that his acne looks so painful, she wonders how he can sleep at night. She decides to pay attention to him and to think of him not as her obstacle at the moment, but to look harder for the boy that is within him. And once she does that, she can feel the fist in her chest begin to let go. And she says gently, "Take it easy on my mushrooms, okay?" He cocks his head and smiles. Abraham Heschel describes the experience of reverence as a salute of the soul. And so today, I, along with so many Native Americans before us, salute them in their recognition of the Maker and the Creator of us all. Thanks be to God. Amen.